It's not a response, it's a Rob-sponse. Still here in Paris, looking to go to London tomorrow. I want to get a little bit of content out, so I want to drop this on my Instagram and YouTube media platforms. But just some observations that I've made about France in the 3 days I've been here. I may or may not do one about Spain because I was only in Spain for one day, basically. So I don't know if I can really say enough about Barcelona and Spain. But between Toulouse and Paris, I've kind of had some observations. So, observation number one: French people, especially smokers, do not give a dang about whether you smoke or not and your non smoking status. While I was waiting at the Toulouse bus stop and while I've been walking around Paris, sitting in certain places, people will smoke right next to you and not even care. A lot of times in the States, at least, if people are smoking, they may be like, maybe this person next to me is a smoker, so I'll smoke a little further distance away, or I'll just wait to light up, or I'll go to a certain area. Here in France, nope. If he or she wants to smoke, he or she will go ahead and smoke. And if you want to catch that secondhand, you just have to catch that secondhand smoke stream from them. Okay, two. No disrespect, but a lot of people in France are kind of stinky. That was sort of one of those Pepe Le Pew stereotypes you always hear back in the States, and I can verify that. From being in the Toulouse train station, walking around the bus station, a lot of people were stinky in small quarters, and then being on that bus, riding from Toulouse, France to Paris, France, there's a lot of funkiness going on. And then when we stopped into the gas station, passed by some funky people. So no disrespect, but yeah, there could be a little bit better hygiene in France. A good thing to note though, a lot of French people think their English is not that great, and in the 2 or 3 Ubers I've hopped in, all the drivers have kind of said, "Oh, my English is not that great," but yeah, actually the English is pretty great. So I have to give credit to people in France, particularly the Uber drivers or the 1 or 2 people that I have kind of talked to. Like their English is pretty good. Now I did notice also, this was more so in Toulouse, that 2 or 3 people did not want to engage me at all when I was trying to talk to them. So I guess it was sort of that, you're in France, you just speak French. I'm not even going to acknowledge or give credence to your English. But again, the French people who have chosen to engage me in English have had fairly understandable English. So, and again, to be fair, when I was in Mexico, when I was in Spain, the Uber drivers and native Spanish speakers, often were willing to engage me in English as well. But in France, I did notice a couple of people who did not want to engage me in English, but the ones who have, their English has been better than they thought. A lot of times go, "Oh, my English is not that good." No, your English is fairly understandable. My French is horrible. Like, I know some Spanish. I consider myself to be able to communicate at a 4 or 5 year old, maybe a 6 year old level in Spanish. In France, in French, I know about 8 or 9 words. Bonjour, and I've also learned bonjour means good night. Bonjour is, hello, like morning and the day. Of course, there's oui, which is yes, no, which is no. S'il vous plaît, which is like please. Merci beaucoup, which is thank you. Mon chéri, my love. And then bonjour, I think. Or bonjour. I've been saying that wrong, so that's probably not even the word, the last one. But yeah, French people and their English has been pretty good. Also, I've also noticed that there, like I said again, are a lot of transplants here in Paris. The Barcelona rate of transplant is 35%. And here in France, I think it's like 25%. So again, yes, there have been a lot of foreigners here, a lot of transplants. And like I said, I've noticed that in Europe in general. So, but again, this is more about, the observations I've made about French people in particular. So hopefully these are some interesting little tidbits that you guys have noticed. There's things I've picked up from, like I said, about 3 days in France. And I'm heading over to the UK tomorrow. So I'll be glad to go somewhere where I can understand the language and not have to pantomime and do charades and beg people to understand my English. Because again, it's their country. It's just France. I'm not going to be the snobby American. I'm fortunate to be here. And again, it's it's grace. It's them giving me grace in order to speak to me in English and try to interpret what I'm saying, and vice versa. So again, now the response was Rob-sponse. Just some thoughts on France.